So we're building this waterfall, and I thought this rock is miles too good to not highlight it really. So I thought I'd just shoot a quick video to explain what I look for in a rock when I'm selecting rocks. But before that, what you need to do when you're looking at hard landscaping is basically buy or bring more stone to the job site or into your garden, so you've got lots of choices. Because if you don't have choice, then you're stuck with a load of stones that may not be what you're looking for, and you're like scratching your head. There's no real feature stones. And what we did is we brought miles more stone than we need, because we can use it on the job. And this stone just popped out to me yesterday in the pouring rain, and I was like, oh my God, look at this stone. So if a stone looks like it's very interesting, you know, these are the stones that you want to be thinking about. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to actually flip it over. And you might say, Mark, why are you going to flip it over? So actually what I'm looking at now here in my head is the bottom of the actual stone. And you might be like, oh my God, this is like really interesting. You could have water flowing down here. And you could. But what we did is yesterday when we flipped it over, I was like, oh my God, this is great. So I'll flip it over now if I can. So if you look at this detail now, so it's got a lovely flat bottom, you've got a lovely top, and what you can do is you can angle this, and then you've got a sort of like a curve in here where water's just going to channel. It may be that you've got water coming over and it's going to come over here and over here, but you're going to create interest because there's interest in the stone. It's not just flat like this. You know, if it was all one sided, if you come around here and have a look at this side, what you've actually got is you've got a flat edge, and then it's sort of like a slope. And what will happen is water will hug this side. So if we didn't have this side, water would be coming over here, then just hugging that. And I don't like that in certain places. Now, if you've got multiple falls, then this side of the stone would be great. But because we've got this side, if you have a look, it's a lot more interesting. Let me see if I can pull it out. And you can see, you know, if I pitch it like this, you've got a lot more. It's sort of almost like the water's going to rain, it's going to dance. I can get creative with foam. You know, I can stop water coming over here if I want to. And let's say water's coming down here, it's going to build up and then roll back down and go. So what you're looking for really is you're looking for interest in these stones. When you're looking for feature boulders, character boulders, you might be looking for framing rocks. This is the star of the show. Yes, it's going to be underwater, and it needs to be framed up by some big stones that match the strata or anything like that. So if you've got any questions about why and what I choose with hard landscaping, put it in the comments section below. Or if you've got any tips and tricks for fellow subscribers or viewers, put it in the comments section below as well. You know, what do you look for in your rocks? You know, let's go and have a look at another stone now, and I'll talk about that stone. So now we can look at this rock, and you might be saying, Mark, why have you sort of like picked up this rock to go with that rock? I haven't. And basically what I've done is I've just highlighted this rock because, again, it's different. So you might have a number of different rock selections, and you always want a number of different sizes, a number of different shapes. You can see this stone, this is quite interesting. And it's literally a small piece, and it's great for directing the flow. But when you're looking at the bigger bits, you're looking, right, what have we got here? And you may be needing to move it around. Well, what we've actually done is we've moved the stone into place or nearer the hole, just so we can have a look at it. This is actually the base for me. So what I'll do now is I'll just push it over. That's how I want the stone to go into the feature. You come here now and have a look at all of this different texture, all of this different interest. That flat edge was not interesting to me. So what I've got here now is you've got lots of interest. You've got another piece here. I don't see this as a framing rock or a spill stone. But it's an interesting looking stone. It's just like there's so much interest. It's just like, oh my God, look at it. And when people say the stones talk to us, they tell us where they want to go. You know, this is not a spillway stone. This is not really a framing rock. Yes, you could frame something up, but it's more of a character boulder. So this one here is lots and lots of character. So you could put it as an outcropping stone on its own or with a couple of friends, you know, smaller rocks. And this is sort of like a lovely stone on its own. So for me, if you come up above and have a look at this from above, what you've got is you've got an interesting back. So this is sort of almost like a 3D boulder for me. You can look at it from any area. The actual base is the one that I don't like. If I flip this back over again now, you see it's boring. It's just a flat area. If you wanted to do a spillway stone and you had some great big framing rocks, this would be a fantastic spill stone, and I would actually use that flat edge. But because this is a big boulder for this size feature, just look at that. It's absolutely screaming, look at me. This edge here is more uninteresting, but if you come round this side and have a look at this texture, I'll come round there. So this is sort of like not as interesting, but look at all these pleats, and you know, it's very, very interesting stone. So one thing you've got to think about when you're marrying up stones is you've got to marry up the strata of the rock, the composition of the rock. And what a lot of people do is they do too many things and it gets too busy. So what you want to do is you want to actually match the lines. So it may be that you've got lots of lines in the stone and they all want to be going the same way. And again, that's why you want to have a good rock selection, because it may be that you just want 3 stones and then you've got all the rest that are adding to the party, but if they're not all marrying up, you know, it just looks odd. So what I'll do first is I'll get some of these rocks into place so you can actually see them in their best location. So let's do that now. So as you can see, now we've got this in place and we've got the water flowing. Yeah, we've not finished this off, and this is not a showcase video. It's more about the stone selection. So don't worry about the liner, don't worry about pipes and stuff. It's more worry about this water flowing over this rock. As you can see, it's covering everywhere. This rock here is the actual stone that I picked, if you can see. And you can do all sorts with the flow. You know, it's just so interesting, that stone. Maybe I'll do a bit of work there, you know, rather, I don't like this, but at the same time, hey, you know, you can just, and then you're going to send water down here. So really it's all about this rock, and you can see how interesting it is, where other rocks, then they would done different things. So let's go over to the feature stone now. The feature rock, it is literally a case of more of a feature, and I can play around with this, but again, you wouldn't have water flowing over this unless you had some big framing rocks. So let's go and have a look at a framing rock here now. So what we've got is we've got the framing rock, and what this is doing is it's framing this amount of water. And as you can see, it's sort of like, this is the spillway stone, believe it or not, but we've just stood the spillway stone up, and this is the frame. It's just like the picture frame to the waterfall. So this is actually, it looks like the water's actually worn it away. So I've actually got the concave in the stone like this, so it looks like the water is actually wearing this down, and it looks much more natural. Believe it or not, we've just switched this on 5 minutes ago, and it's still, or it's already looking perfectly natural. So this is a framing rock. We've talked about a spillway, and we've talked about the feature rocks. So my name is Mark, the Pond Advisor, and I'm here to support you dream, plan and enjoy ponds and water features. And like I've said earlier in the video, put in the comments section below what type of rock you're using and any tips and tricks that you can come up with for other people.